In response to Donald Trump's tariff threats and his grumblings about the Canada-US border, Manitoba has announced that it will be sending conservation workers to patrol the border. The Globe and Mail's Temur Durrani has more on the plan.
Yeah, so right now, Premier Canoe, he's announced that basically he's taking conservation officers who are regularly staffers that patrol different parts of the province of Manitoba for wildlife conservation and natural resource services. So enacting those things. And, they're now putting them at the border. So they're redeploying them from different positions along the 49th parallel. So the parts of Canada's border that, go through Manitoba's province, that's what Manitoba's doing there. What that looks like exactly, we're not quite sure, because what it's going to do is they're not getting any additional powers. They're not necessarily going to be able to lay criminal charges on their own if they do see any illegal activity, but there are additional eyes and ears, so to speak, on the border for the RCMP and the CBSA. And so that's what they're kind of doing there. They're going to be additional eyes and ears at that point. Now, again, we're also not sure how many exactly are going to be redeployed. So far, only 11 have gotten there. That's very few, right? So it's a very little number. And at this point, we don't know, it seems more just like, look, we're doing this. And that's something maybe Donald Trump will be happy about. And he won't put up these tariffs on us and impact us in this critical way.
We also asked Mr. Durrani what he's hearing from the conservationists about the province's plan to deploy them to the border.
We're not being allowed to talk to them. We're not being allowed to ask them questions. At the press conference, I was quite curious why, the chief executive, sort of, Mr. Meadows, who was there, who was supposed to have talked to the media because at this media conference. We could have asked him questions, but there was no comments from him. Even when we would ask questions of him, Mr. Canoe would answer those questions on his behalf. In fact, actually, one of the numbers that I'm quite curious about, and this is a number that just keeps getting floated to me from all different sides, through the percentage form. So, the Progressive Conservative Party says that Mr. Canoe inherited 30% of a loss into field officers, so these conservation officers. Mr. Canoe said he's inherited 20% of this, and then he's brought it down to 10%. But what that's a percentage of, I don't know. I don't actually know how many physical conservation officers there are in Manitoba at this point, because that number I'm not getting, neither from the union either. It seems it's a little confusing why that number is not there. So it's kind of like this X that we're trying to divide out and trying to figure out. At one point last year, the Conservatives did, which of course were here in Manitoba, the past government, they did say that there were 90 field officers in late December. So that's quite close to what we might think it is the case right now, but we don't know how many there even are on the field at this point.